Welcome to the Dawn and Steve Plus podcast, fueled by Raphael's Roastery and supported by you. Connect to us on socials or dawnandsteveplus.com.
Well, welcome to Dawn and Steve Plus. Glad that you're here, and I think you're going to enjoy today's program because we have a very special guest in studio today.
So special.
The one, the only, Alex May.
That's the
Your
oldest.
oldest.
Yes, yeah. The oldest of our kiddos. She came in to talk to us a little bit about singleness.
Yeah.
Fellowship and community, moving all over, because she's moved all over.
She has moved all over and has been single at almost 30.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of lessons that I think you learn in that stage of life, late 20s. And as you're heading to 30, as you watch your friends get married off and they start families and you're maybe sitting there going, all right, Lord, what's going on here?
Did you have a takeaway from the conversation?
You know, I think my biggest takeaway, my favorite part was when she was talking about kind of the foundational truth that she clings to or that God had been teaching her about contentedness and singleness.
Well, let's find out what your favorite part of the podcast is with Alex May. Hello, my daughter.
Hi.
How's that for an introduction?
Yeah, that's quite the introduction.
I'll take it, yeah.
How about the eldest of the three?
More proper,
Yes. Alex May is our guest today.
Yes.
And you are the eldest. And you never ask a woman her age, but in context.
You know, I really don't mind.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't
I
mind.
kind of thought it was the same
Yep.
question, or I wouldn't have asked or set it up that way. You are going to be what this year?
Turning the big 3-0.
The big 3.
Still just a whippersnapper.
Yeah, I'm just a young buck.
We were talking about that today because so my daddy made a statement to me one time that said, I don't feel old until I think about how old you are, pointing to me, right?
Wow.
And I thought, okay, I guess I could understand
You
that.
kind of get that now?
I understand it a whole lot
right.
now. But we were talking today about like being 21 and what you thought you knew at 21.
Yeah, I thought I knew a lot. And I work with a lot of 21-year-olds, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could tell you just how much you don't actually know, because now I look back at me at 21,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I thought I knew so much, and here I am at 29, like, oh, I'm just a baby adult.
All right, so over the
Baby adult. I love that admission.
if you could go back 8 years
Yeah.
and tell 21-year-old Alex, like what you've learned in 8 years, what would be like the biggest thing?
Oh, mine would probably have to do with like how I relate to people and just like go to bed. You know, just go to bed. Don't send the text. Don't say the thing that is high on your emotions. Like, just sleep and then see how you feel the next day, or deal with your things. Like if
That's
you got
wisdom
stuff,
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
If you got stuff to deal with it. Like, don't let it build up. Don't let it be tucked away, like in counseling and stuff. Just go ahead and get all that out, because it is only going to help you later. So that's my infinite wisdom. Just the surface of it.
I'm amazed at that. I don't think I learned that till I hit my 50s.
Oh,
Honestly.
well.
I really think that
Just imagine what she's going to be like in her 50s.
I won't be here, but it's going to be great.
minute.
The legacy will live on. Oh, well, maybe I will. We'll see. Yeah, sorry.
I hope so. It's only 20 years from now.
I know. Like, what?
Okay, full confession. That was Don Ray math.
Hey,
I
feel you.
just added 50 years to her 29 and was like, oh, I'm not that you'll be 50.
Oh, yeah.
I was adding 50 to
No,
your
I was
29.
tracking, yeah.
Okay. See, she speaks fluent Don Ray.
Well, she lived with you a long time.
I speak fluent poor math.
But that too,
So.
that too. So you have learned, you do have quite a bit of wisdom. And one thing that I've always been impressed with through these years of singleness in your life is how you have become content in the Lord and not in just looking. I mean, you're ready if the Lord brings somebody, but you're also asking the question, Lord, have you called me to a life of singleness?
Right. Yeah, I was just asking that this morning, actually. I was just sitting on your bed, and we were just talking about relationships, and, I've been in one legitimate relationship in my life, and, I'm just like, I don't know, like maybe my lack of dates or dating is the Lord's way of saying, singleness is what I have for you. And I say that, tongue in cheek, essentially, because if he does have a man for me, then that's wonderful, and I'm expectant for that. But also at the same time, like, that coexists with my ability to just be content in the season I'm in right now. And I mean, I jokingly, in thinking through topics for this podcast, was going through just kind of like my mental bookshelf of what I could talk about. And I'm like, the thing I'm the expert in the most in my life right now is singleness. So why not put that on the table?
Well, I love the fact that you're willing to go there and talk about it, because I feel like a lot of times that doesn't get talked about a lot, especially in the church, you know, and you have grown up in the church, you've been in ministry, still in ministry. And, you know, so what do you wish the church would talk about as it relates to singleness?
Okay, now she's going to take the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Well,
let me put that softball
church,
over the
listen
middle
up.
of the plate.
Since you asked.
There's so many things. And you know how like discipleship is supposed to start in the home or be continued in the home, not just, you know, on Sundays or at youth group or whatever. So the church being the big C and the little c, I think one of the top things is just affirming and confirming that just because you're single doesn't mean you're not whole. Like, if you walk with the Lord, then you are whole and complete because of Christ, not because of anyone else or anything else in your life. Now, and that's something that I attribute to my parents. Like, they were never people that the narrative in our lives, mine and my brother and sister, like, has never been, when are you giving us, you know, grandkids? When are you getting married? Like, it's just never been a thing. And so that being the discipleship in the home piece, and then the broader church piece, just being like, hey, if you're single, like, we want you, we care about you, we have things for you to connect with other people. We want to invite you into our homes and do fellowship, not just community, but fellowship with you. And you are perfectly whole and complete, not perfect, but perfectly whole and complete, without, you know, for me, a man by my side, or for the guys in my life, like, that are single, a woman by their side. So.
How does that translate then when you are thinking about your life and the things that you want to go and do? I mean, you've moved a few times. Has that been something that the Lord has taught you, contentedness through the different moves? I mean, you've moved like how many states?
So currently I live in Michigan. And last year I lived in Iowa for a year. Yeah.
Go Hawks.
We don't really. No, I'm just kidding. It was a fine season of life, I guess. That's a whole other podcast, I think.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, I was in Wisconsin for 2 years. And then prior to that, I was in Tennessee post college. So that's kind of the timeline working backwards, I guess. But I think a few years ago, maybe right out of college, I had attended this college night at the church I was going to, and they were talking about singleness. And I had just gone through a breakup, and so I was like, oh, this is a perfect topic. And they talked about what it looks like to put your yes on the table. And that is, I guess, kind of a Christianese way of saying, like, Lord, my life is yours, and I am, like, you know that, but I am, like, verbalizing that and saying, like, whatever you have for me, I want to do. So if that's moving a bunch of times because I'm trying to pursue what God has for my life and being obedient and honoring to Him, then my yes is on the table always. And so in singleness, I can just get up and
You
move.
can just do it.
Yeah, I have myself to worry about, really. And so if I'm in Iowa for a year and then I'm moving to, you know, Michigan the next, like, okay, that's just what I'm doing. Now it is hard sometimes because in other seasons of my life, I've been able to put down some more roots, I guess, establish more friendships, which is something that comes with if you're in an area for longer than, 10 months. So I would say that's probably been a downside, but overall, the upside of this version of, life and singleness is all right.
So I'm just trying to go back
Yeah.
to what life looked like at that age. And that was a while ago. It was a minute. Um, in your early 20s, it feels like there's still a lot of your friends who are single.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
By the time you're hitting 30,
Yeah.
it feels like a lot of your friends have married.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are parents at this point. They're getting mortgages and the whole deal, right? And so you're kind of walking through this going, all right, it feels like my pool of people that I can just do stuff with keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're nodding
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Our little face like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel that.
So what do you do with that? Like when you feel like your potential community keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller,
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like as a single to kind of walk through that and work through that?
Yeah. For me, it's looked a lot like just stepping into those new seasons with those friends. If I'm with and are living in the same area as, like, there have been some really precious friendships I've formed with young marrieds, with a baby or small children, and I love hanging out with them. It just is more planned and maybe sometimes more chaotic or whatever. But I am another person in their life that gets to be a part of speaking into their lives, gets to be a part of maybe even discipling their kids to a degree. So like I've just had to change my mindset a little bit of like, no, we're not gonna just pick up and go bowling on at 8:00 on a Tuesday, but it can be still so meaningful. However, then there are my other single friends that I can be like, hey, let's go on a girls trip and let's book an Airbnb in Colorado and like we can just pick up and go, and that's so refreshing as well. And there's just more common language amongst me and some of my single friends in this season than there are with me and my married friends, but it's still sweet. So
When you've picked up and moved those so many times, that can't be easy for maintaining friendships that were in the state before that you were part of, or 2 states before.
Yep.
It's also difficult to rebuild from scratch community. What have you seen the Lord doing in that season, and what have you experienced?
Yeah, that's a really great question. For me, I won't lie, it's been difficult at times to continue to pour into those relationships that I had in the previous state or previous like 2 states, 3, 4. So it is special when there is a friend or 2 that continue with you into that next season. Or when I come back home to visit Tennessee, like there's always a handful that I will no doubt plan to hang out with and see while I'm here. I still make effort to get back to Wisconsin and visit friends there because that's really where my single population is now, which is really interesting. And yeah, I think that's just kind of like a different effort has to be made. And I would love if I had like giant pockets of people in every place I go to, but that's just not reality for me. So
Where do you find community coming from now?
yeah. So this year has actually felt like one of the slowest years for me community-wise, and I don't know why. But I've heard from other maybe singles or even young marrieds in the area that I'm in that it's actually been difficult for them too, and maybe they're from that area or have been there for a few years now. So I don't know what it is about Grand Rapids and maybe the struggle for young adults there, even though there's so many of them. But yeah, it's been
They're
it's been a
still
slow build.
Midwesterners.
I know, yeah, Midwestern.
Now, she was born and raised in that area.
I
though,
was,
so
yeah.
you are familiar with the Midwest vibe.
Yeah, I am, and I can't seem to get out of the Midwest. Lord doesn't seem to open the doors yet for the South again. But yeah, I think it's been slow, and where I find community is just trying. I go to church. I have put myself into a small group. I have been going to a young adult, like 25 to 30 somethings, group where I've met some people. And so I would say now I play pickleball. So like that's been incredibly helpful. There's a group of young adult women that I play with. And then there's a a group of like 50s plus women that I've
Come
Nice.
on.
been playing pickleball with.
Those are great people.
They are. It's been awesome. We're not going to get coffee or anything, but it's still enjoyable. And so yeah, it's just been slower. I haven't been like I have been it's been very much a crock pot season of friendships
Yeah.
and not a microwave season. When other seasons have maybe been either a mix of both or more microwaved, this one I've felt the slow cooker on
Yeah.
and have been waiting. So
Yeah. You used 2 words earlier, and in my mind, I often think of these things as similar or, simultaneous, and you actually had separated them. And I'm curious about that. You said community and fellowship as if they were 2 different things.
Did you see her eyes light up right there?
I did.
See that?
Well, yeah. I mean, when she said it, there was something in those eyes. And I'm like, we got to get back to that.
Yeah.
And so define those 2 terms as you use that and what is different about them.
Yeah, that's a recent thing that I've heard, and I don't know exactly where I picked it up from, but and maybe it was another podcast or a church sermon, something. They're talking about like we talk about wanting community, and that's true and good and accurate. We do. We're built for relationship. It reflects the Trinity and all of that, but there's something deeper about fellowship. Like we can be in community with other people, and that's great. But when you're fellowshipping with others, there's a vulnerability there and just like a desire to go deeper. I think of, not that I'm like a big Lord of the Rings fan or anything, but you think of like the Fellowship of the Ring. Like that was kind of a band of brothers of sorts. Like they went through a lot of stuff together. And community to me is maybe a more, or like a little bit bigger or more general thing. Whereas like a fellowship is something that's a little more interconnected.
And discipleship happens within relationship, whether you're discipling well or not so well or marginally, discipleship's still happening.
Right.
It's like people are picking up on what you're laying down. This meaningful discipleship then take place when it comes to spiritual matters within the fellowship or the community. I mean, both, yes. But what are you thinking as far as like what have you benefited most from?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've really thought about that to the degree that you're asking. I think it does happen in both because maybe the person you're discipling or are being discipled by are in like your general community, but aren't the people that you're truly fellowshipping with, that you're going deep with, and they're holding you accountable because that's not always the nature of discipleship, that mutual accountability. Whereas for me, discipleship is more like that person that's maybe a little bit older that you're pouring into, and then the, stair steps keep going down. So, yeah.
I was thinking about that concept recently too, because we talk a lot about community in the church, and we can have community in the church. We can have community outside the church. You could have a totally secular pickleball club, and whatever, right? But you're probably not having fellowship the way that we talk about it in the church with those people. So when that community is based around the Word of God and based around that relationship with Christ, you're right. There's a different level of intimacy and depth and pouring into each other, I think.
Yeah.
When that happens.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's so well worded. That's why you're the pro here.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
But yeah, that's the general idea. Like some of the women I do play pickleball with, like I wouldn't say they know the Lord, and so it's a great opportunity to be kind and be a kind pickleball player,
You're
and maybe not swear on the court and whatever, like get all bent out of shape. Not that they bent out of shape; they're very kind, but I just know that maybe they're not people of faith in the same way. And so it's like, okay, like this is cool. Like it's a different community, but I wouldn't fellowship with them. Yeah.
You've learned so much in the last, I would even say decade, which you've alluded to as we started the podcast. Do you have anything that you're anticipating you think the Lord has laid on your heart for this coming year?
There's a few things that I'm doing for this upcoming year. I don't know if that's something I'm praying through. Like I need to pray through that. Like, Lord, what is it specifically in accordance with you that you have for me in this upcoming year. I do feel like there's a bunch of little projects and things that I enjoy doing that are aligned with him and have a lot of faith-based or spiritual undertones to them. I have a lot of interests in life.
You do have a lot of interests.
And sometimes that's great, and sometimes I wish that I could do something with them more than I have. So like curriculum writing, I recently kind of just wrote a Devo for kids that's specifically on spiritual disciplines and for 8 to 12-year-olds. And yeah, it's just like, I just have this knowledge and care in me that I want to get that out on paper. And discipleship, I mean, the age, I think Barna has a research out that's like, the age is getting younger and younger, that you need to be getting into discipleship with the kids because of social media and whatever else is vying for their attention. So I'm like, well, 8 isn't 4, but it's still a good age to comprehend things. And so that's like an avenue, I guess. I'm also training for a marathon this year. Thank you. I am one of the most average people ever, I think, not ever to train, but I'm just an average person. I wasn't a runner before. I've been trying to get into the mentality of I'm a runner now. And some days are really challenging. But part of the reason why I want to do it was for that challenge, to like figure out how mentally resilient I am, to ask the Lord for help when I am just struggling out there, especially in the Tennessee humidity. So, and then just to, I'm running with Team World Vision, which is an incredible organization, Christian organization that brings clean water to people. And so it's, for that purpose as well, but also to see what the Lord might unlock in me and pull others alongside me as I do it. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
Yeah, that's cool.
It does.
So we are running out of time, but I do have one more question.
If
we've got some singles watching right now, what you said that you have been learning contentment in singlehood and to a place where you feel like you pretty much landed there. And if God brings somebody, great. And if He doesn't, you're okay.
Yep.
What do you feel like? What was the process, or how do you feel like God has been teaching you that contentment? And what would you say to a single right now they're not content because they do want that man or that woman in their life?
Yeah. I don't know if I would have anything magical or, the key to unlock contentment for you single who's in the same boat as me. But I think it starts with like really getting to know who your Savior is. Like if you walk with Jesus, to get to know who He is and His heart will help so much with figuring out who you are and who He's called you to be. And so like that is the foundational building blocks of learning contentment. And then after that, I think it's just that continuing of like, find good friendships that you love them, they love you. Like there's a mutual intentionality there, because that will fill gaps. Like go and be a part of things, go serve and be a part of things that are bigger than yourself, because that's going to help tremendously. And on those days that are just hard and you really want someone and it seems like everyone else has someone, which are inevitably going to come, find a song, a worship song or scripture or something that brings you back to the truth. Because at the end of the day, like if you're believing lies and you are believing the narrative of I'm not good enough if I don't have somebody, then that's how you're going to live. And that's not full freedom. That's not your yes on the table. And that's not allowing God to work and maybe even blow your mind on the things that He could provide for you. So that's my encouragement. Maybe it'll work for you. It's worked for me. And I'm grateful for what the Lord has been doing in my life.
Well, we're grateful that you took the time to come in and to spend the time behind that microphone today. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so fun.
Alex May, the oldest of the 3 May children.
Of the May fam.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're here. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us for the Dawn and Steve Plus podcast. We're a listener-supported, non-profit podcast, and we're grateful for your generous support. You can give at dawnandsteveplus.com. Our producer is yours truly, Stephen Briggs, with assistance from Chris Westmoreland. Please like and subscribe to Dawn and Steve Plus anywhere you get your podcasts and on all our socials. Links to what we talk about and to Raphael's Roastery are in the show notes below. Thanks for joining us and being our plus one.